Hey, welcome back. And I just stopped the recording. I've done this 3 times now. I'm getting lightheaded. I keep stopping the video. I'm just going to put these together, or I'll do it without a splash screen. If this doesn't have a splash screen, I have it. I recorded 3 attempts to put it in here, and I keep deleting it. And so I don't know. Yeah, I think I'll do it. Either that or I'll put it at the end and I'll just let it run without any talking. Topic for today is going to be the part three of, and hopefully the last part of an ongoing segment on the student loan debt forgiveness. And yeah, I keep hitting the stop recording instead of the pause so I can queue up stuff. And Nancy Pelosi did this, and I want to say it was at least a couple months ago. I think she might have done this last year. I think this might have been from 2021, and they've revisited it today when they're talking about this. And I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a legislator. I'm doing my best to pretend to be a journalist for YouTube here, and I want to talk about this. So here we go. We will play Nancy Pelosi.
People think that the President of the United States has the power for debt forgiveness. He does not. He can postpone, he can delay, but he does not have that power. That has to be an act of Congress.
Yeah, and I keep forgetting to mute the mic, but the problem is I've muted the mic, and this was two miscues on this. I I forgot to start the mic back up, so if there's some echo in there, I apologize. They do have the closed caption on it. I will try to do better, but this is just not a good day for me right now. She went on and rambled on a little bit, but in a sense, she is saying that the president does not have the ability to forgive student loan. And I don't know. I really don't know. This is going to, I mean, and here's the thing with the Republicans every time a Democrat tried to make an executive order or something else to protect us from COVID, you always saw the Republicans challenge it in court. Same thing with Obamacare. You know, he tried to give us health care, again, to save lives, to make people healthier. And they challenged that in court. COVID. Every time they did something that would either save lives, prevent the spread of COVID, the Republicans did everything they could to challenge that in court. So if they're willing to challenge in court something that is, you know, if they get their way, it's going to cause you harm or even kill you. You know, they're going to challenge this. So it's going to have to survive at least a handful of court trials. And here's the other thing: we've seen this Supreme Court. Uh, it would appear corruptly to strike down like Roe v. Wade. Two of them should probably be going, you know, at least being investigated and prosecuted for lying to Congress because they, under oath, there's 2 or 3 of them. They lied to Congress while they were doing their confirmation hearings. And if we had a attorney general with courage, they would be challenging them on this. They would be trying to put them in jail for lying to Congress. And right now, though, those 3 people get to sit there because if they did that, it would be like a 3-3 instead of a 3-6. And but we don't have that, so we gotta survive on what we got. But Nancy has said, this is go back to last year, he doesn't have the authority, that has to be from Congress. I think there is some existing authority to do what he's doing in small amounts, but he can't just with a magic wand forgive everybody's debt. And he might not even have the authority to this, but you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the president pushing the boundaries when he's trying to help people. And the Republicans should be okay with it because they're okay with Republicans pushing the boundaries when they're trying to cover up crimes or screw people over and, break international laws. I mean, I don't think he's breaking any laws. He's just basically pushing his boundaries. But we are going to see this challenged in the courts. And so that there right there is one of the big thing that's looming. Okay, now this one here, I'm trying to find the right video, and this right here is, I think, relevant because again, they're talking, oh, the president has the authority to do this, president, and this is something that was said about another issue legal issue, and let's just go.
Because it's a little bit convoluted. So remember when Bill Barr lied to us about the Mueller report? Federal court judge Reggie Walton said, he lied, he deceived, he dissembled, he mischaracterized, and he said Bill Barr lacks candor. And remember, Bill Barr told us all, no obstruction. Donald Trump can't be charged with any crimes. Well, it turns out that Bill Barr used as a basis to say, he can't be charged with any obstruction, a DOJ memo that had been written. And Bill Barr said, it's a secret memo. I can't show it to anybody, but trust me, it's an analysis of, the facts and the law, and it reaches the conclusion that, Donald Trump just can't be charged with obstructing justice, with obstructing Bob Mueller's probe of all things Trump, Russia. But just trust me. Well, there's an organization called CREW, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, and they didn't trust Bill Barr, and they filed suit, Freedom of Information Act, seeking this memo that Bill Barr said, we can't show you, but trust me, it says Donald Trump can't be charged with obstructing justice. Against that backdrop, here is the new reporting from the Washington Post about how a federal appeals court just smacked down Bill Barr again. Headline, court orders release of DOJ memo on Trump obstruction in Mueller probe.
What I'm kind of getting at here with this is a case, much like the 3 new Supreme Court justices who lied under oath that they wouldn't disbar or wouldn't rule against Roe v. Wade, that they would uphold it as precedent and established law. We have, evidence from at least a 3-panel appeals court and the original judge that Barr lied. He lied when he, did a little summary of the Mueller report and said Donald Trump didn't break the law. He didn't. He didn't do that. They're finding out he lied. One judge said that the opinion to not prosecute Trump seemed to be baked in before they even got the Mueller report. And again, Biden is open and honest about this student forgiveness, debt loan forgiveness. These guys do this and then try to keep the memos secret. This is the big difference between the two parties for anybody out there that wants to be in this delusional world where both parties are the same. But that's what's going on here. And these guys talk about, he can't do this. Well, fine, then we need to basically bring Trump to trial, and we should anyways. What Biden's doing isn't illegal. He might not have the authority to do it, but it's not illegal. And maybe it'll get struck down. This is what happens, But the other side seems just fine with covering up actual crimes, whether it be a president, whether it be an attorney general, whether it be members of the legislature. They seem to be just fine on it. And the Democratic Party is actually trying to help people. And I think that's an important distinction. For those of you out there, the guy that was John is Glennkershner. I actually watch his podcast on YouTube when I can, and I follow him on Twitter. He has a very good podcast and a really good Twitter following where he basically talks about legal issues. And since I'm not a lawyer and I'm interested in this stuff, I find him to be one of the better people out there to actually give you some advice on that. What we're going to do now is we're going to look at least a couple seconds, couple minutes of this. Some of this is going to be a blind review for me, but I just want to hear some of this on the subject.
The Republican Party is certainly not throwing a ticker tape parade over this. And in fact, they seem bullish on this, the utility of this as a political cudgel. I will quote Tom Cotton. There is no such thing as student loan forgiveness. This is a bailout paid for the large majority of Americans who never went to college or who responsibly paid off their debts. There is nothing the Republican Party loves more than a culture war. And they see this as ripe This is, we know that education is the dividing line in American politics. It's what really separates the Republican Party from the Democratic Party. And Republicans are going to make hay of this and say, this is another handout to the liberal elitist base, courtesy of Joe Biden. The Republican Party is a party of the grassroots working class. Setting aside the validity of that.
On that subject there, yes, this is a culture war, and yes, he is gonna, and I don't necessarily think he's wrong to say that this is a giveaway to the liberal elite, because if you actually dig into the facts of it, educated people are far more likely to vote for Democrats. And this is why you can go back to Reagan. I don't think it goes back. I don't know for a fact that it goes back before, but you can go back to Reagan. They started a war on education. And the reason they did it is because smart people generally don't vote Republican. And you don't have to take me. You can look it up. Donald Trump, after he won on TV and said, "We won with the uneducated. I love the uneducated." Donald Trump, there's also video out there. I just don't have time to find it. I've already screwed up enough I'm on like third or fourth take on this video. But Donald Trump, when asked about, letting everybody vote, he's like, well, we can't let everybody vote because the Republicans will never win another election. So you can understand why they have been attacking schools. You can understand why they have been attacking voter registration. They want these voter ID laws passed. They don't want felons to vote because these people that have experienced any type of life from the Republican control, like down in Florida, they got their, Republicans have been in control of that much. And if you listen to some of the voters, you understand that they have a problem down there with mental illness and education. But these people that have been down there and they've experienced, like living in a prison in a Republican controlled state, they realize how bad it is. And when they get a chance to vote, they want to clean. They've seen it from the inside. They know. So they want to clean that up. And, this was the thing they did. They don't do it as much anymore because they started making their own schools to pump out fucking idiots. But back in the 90s, you heard a lot where they attacked education. They're like, oh, well, the education system favors liberals. Well, no, it really doesn't. But if you are a conservative and you believe in conservative policies, there are certain facets of education and higher education that you're just not qualified for. If you are a Republican and you believe that, if you give people tax cuts, that it creates more revenue, well, you're not qualified to have any type of a math class. You can't teach math. If you are someone that honestly believes that the planet is only 6,000 years old, and you believe that, in the Garden of Eden, you rode around on dinosaurs with saddles like the Flintstones, you're not qualified to teach a history class. And it goes on and on and on. Again, if you think, 2 + 2 = Jesus, you can't teach math. If you don't believe in science, well, there's a whole host of classes you can't teach. There was a Republican who was the head of the science committee. I can't remember the douchebag's name, but he basically was quoted saying science is lies from the pit of hell. Well, I'm sorry, when you have these attitudes, you can't teach. When you don't believe in the separation of church and state, you can't teach. When you don't believe in facts and history, you can't teach. So instead of changing that, instead of being leaders of their party and educating people, they've just decided to attack the school. They want a country that school system is so fucked up that it will produce people stupid enough to believe their bullshit. And that's where we're at. And, and you can see it all over. You probably got some of it in your family. You definitely probably got some of it where you work. And this is what they're getting at. And so, yeah, I don't think he's out of line. I really don't when he says that this is a giveaway to live. Well, yeah, because stupid people are not going to school, or at least they're not graduating, unless they go to one of these schools that was championed by Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. it was one of these right-wing schools, and much like Trump University, they were shown to not be educating people. The degree that they were given was not worth literally the paper it was printed on, and they had to give the money back. Well, she basically spent her entire life as Secretary of Education defying court orders to quit collecting that money. That loan was forgiven by the court because what they were on. But see, that was one of her schools. That I would say is part of the Republican Party. They want these schools that will give you a degree for being an idiot, because they don't really care. In fact, they don't want people to get educated. They just want them to have the paper. And it is what it is. But this is something that we're dealing with, and it is a clear and present danger to our country. And I'm really glad that Biden is tackling it. I really am. But he needs to start messaging it and let people know, hey, this is probably going to get challenged in court. And it's probably going to, just like Roe v. Wade, just like New York's gun laws, if it gets to the Supreme Court, it's probably going to get thrown out. And just let them know, until we can get the courts fixed, and until we can get people to stop sending, terrorists, white supremacists, and other defectives, other deplorables to the legislatures, whether it's in their state or whether it's in the United States at the national level, this is something we're going to be dealing with. And this is something that you can't get around. The Republicans can do stuff like this. They can do their war on this debt forgiveness. And I think I'm going to save this for part 4. I am going to do a 4th part on this. So join me on part 4. Peace out, and hope everybody has a great day.